Hello, I'm Notes, and nothing really new has come out lately. Let's have a look at an album that came out last year that really deserves to be talked about, and that would be the Pineapple Thief's Magnolia album. So the Pineapple Thief have a really solid sound that they've been perfecting and practicing over the course of their career, starting in the early 2000s. Each album of theirs never really deviates far from that core sound that they've been playing since the development of their band, which is kind of one part late 90s, early 2000s rock that we got at that time period, one part experimental rock, really seeing where the soundscapes and really developing their music, making a really longer piece of music. They had these really amazing build-ups on songs such as Remember Us, What We Have Sown, and Too Much to Lose, and really brought forth that late 90s, early 2000s rock, but put it on a progressive rock stage. Once I found out Magnolia was coming out, I was a little disappointed to see the track list and the track times on a lot of these guys. I was really hoping for those longer songs that I really loved in their earlier works, and seeing that no song really made it past the 6-minute mark on Magnolia, I was a little hesitant, I'm not gonna lie. But what the band brought to the forefront, instead of those longer compositions, was a solid record nonetheless. The time they would have spent developing a longer song, they put in creating a really strong album. And following suit with their past albums, I don't mind this at all. In fact, I think this album is one of their strongest they've ever put out. The songs might be shorter, they might be a little bit more accessible, but it doesn't compromise the sound and sound quality that they're bringing forth. Magnolia is definitely a more mature sound overall for the band. It's really hard to say that this album has an identity of its own that's separate from other Pineapple Thief albums. You can take any of the songs that are found on this album and put them on any other album that they have put out, and it wouldn't stand out. It wouldn't seem out of place. The only difference being the song would sound a little bit more mature, a little bit more polished. So as I mentioned before, unlike past albums, this album as a whole is very well done. On each of the past albums, there were always a few songs that didn't quite measure up to the overall oomph of the rest of the album. They were just kind of taking up space. On this album, no song is above another, and no song really stands out because of this. It's a weird dynamic because the entire album from start to finish is very well organized and equal. And is that a good thing? Because of that, you're left not really knowing any individual songs, but more of just that overall album feel. And so that's what Magnolia is for me. It's an overall great experience for an album, but no real one song rises above any other. But there are a few instances that do kind of call to mind after a number of listenings to this album. There's a really nice string movement in the song Don't Tell Me that's really quite moving. And when the different guitars and more traditional rock instruments come in after that string section, it's like the two are dancing around one another, and the overall feel of this song is more of a dance movement between the traditional rock instruments and more of a classical movement with those strings. There's also a little bit more attention drawn towards the harmonizations and the vocals, and this is found on such songs as Coming Home and A Loneliness. Another song that stood out after a number of listens was that Sense of Fear. It starts off with almost a fast techno beat that gets shoved aside really quickly with a hard electric guitar, and then it goes really quiet and really soothing with that main vocal verse with just the electric keyboards in the back. And then when we get to the end, all of those elements are brought together. It just shows how a song can develop in such a compact and short amount of time. And as always, we have that closing track that each Pineapple Thief album really shines with, and this one is no exception. On past albums, you had Reaching Out and So We Row. On this one, it's Bond. What I really love about this song is that it kind of encompasses everything that I've mentioned before into that one song, especially with the use of the trumpets found on this song. It reminds me of the clarinet piece from King Crimson's Lizard. Once you get to that middle section, you know, everything else kind of quiets down and finds its place, and then you have this lonely instrument just coming to the forefront and really playing very, very well. And because it's a trumpet, it feels almost like the Wild West. It feels like a soundtrack from a spaghetti western. And it just ties the whole album together so succinctly and so nicely. And that is pretty much it for Pineapple Thief's Magnolia. If you like that late 90s, early 2000s kind of post-grunge rock, like the Foo Fighters, like Incubus, and you know bands and enjoy music from Porcupine Tree and Pain of Salvation, I would definitely give this album a check out. And I would also say start with this album because this is a much more accessible album, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And if you really want to treat yourself, go check out What We Have Sown and Remember Us. Even though it isn't on this album, these longer songs are really where the band shines. And so that's it. What did you guys think about this album? Did you like the shorter tracks, the different approach to music that these guys are starting to take? Or are you favoring their longer stuff, feeling like they need that time to develop the songs? Comment below, let me know. And I don't really see anything new coming down the pipeline anytime soon. I know that there's some really exciting albums coming out, but nothing between now and my next video, so I definitely need some help for my next review. What do you guys want to see me do? What kind of albums has been put out lately that you want me to review? I've got a few ideas already, but I'd like to hear from you guys first. And that's it. Notes out.